beautiful people. It is me. It is I. It is Daniel J. Dakich. I'm so tired of the veiled racism on ESPN. I am. I'm sorry. I'm so tired of it. And I got to tell you, I'm going to get into a lot of stuff today. Did JJ Redick just open the floodgates for white guys to call out African-American guys for their racism in sports? Did he open it? Because for years, Caucs have been very, very, very sheepish, Caucasians that is, of criticizing anybody in the African-American media or player community for their racist takes, and we've seen it left and right. I got no problem for African-Americans calling out white guys for their racist takes. How about we just judge people by the content of their character, not by the color of their skin, as we do here on this show every single day. JJ Redick went after the big racist, a.k.a. Kendrick Perkins. Kendrick Perkins is really stupid. I mean, let's just be honest. He's really stupid. And he gets by with his stupidity by just claiming racist things and being a tough guy. I don't mind that Kendrick Perkins is a pseudo-moron on TV. I get it. I get the world that we live in. He's a straight talk, straight shooter. I spit truths, man, except when he's challenged on it. I'm going to show you this clip of JJ Redick going after Kendrick Perkins, and it's not what JJ Redick said. It's the fact that Kendrick Perkins, I guess we can only show the audio, acted like a complete child. You'll hear it in the audio. But when Redick was going at him, Perkins, I mean, you see it all the time on ESPN. Monica McNutt, who is, I don't know who, but, you know, she is the new it gal of college basketball. Anytime, it's just immaturity, disrespectful for the person talking, and that's what it's meant to be. It's meant to be disrespectful. So you're going to hear the big racist, Kendrick Perkins, but you're not going to see him act like a 2-year-old. But you can hear him act like a 2-year-old because what do 2-year-olds do? They just shout. Woo! Wah! Wah! Calm down. No, they just shout. And you're going to hear, I like to refer to him as the big stupid, but we'll go with the big racist, Big Perk, who, by the way, is nothing more than a racist, immature punk. Let's hear the exchange.
I want to just say something. Stephen A., I mean no offense to you, and I mean no offense to First Take. Because I think this show is extremely valuable. It is an honor to be on this desk every day. It really is. But what we've just witnessed is the problem with this show, where we create narratives that do not exist in reality. The implication, what you are implying, that the white voters that vote on NBA are racist, that they favor white people. You just said that. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. That is exactly what you implied, Kendrick Perkins. That is exactly what you implied. Secondly, hold on.
I did not call. I stated the facts. And you're not about to sit up.
We all know what you implied the other day. We all know what you implied just now. Hold on.
I stated it's the facts. It's the facts. It's the facts.
Okay.
I mean, when you're just stupid and you're racist and you're immature, that's what it's a fact. First he said that he did not say it. And then, of course, when he got cornered, it wasn't like, and people have said, it wasn't like that he could just, I don't know, debate it with somebody coming at him. My friend Mike Garrett, an African-American man, Perkins got called out on the truth and he wasn't interested in opening up to it. I'm impressed that a white male had enough sack to call him out. I've been saying for years, until white people sack up and fight back, this nonsense will continue. He's absolutely right. That's exactly another reason. I saw that Barrett Sports Media did an article on me yesterday on my show. It's exactly why I left ESPN. You got to sit there and take it. Now, I left ESPN right before the completely out of their mind L. Duncan, Kendrick Perkins, Stephen A. Smith, Ryan Clark, incredible racist stupidity happened, sexist idiocy. But all I do is watch occasionally. Actually, I really don't watch. I started watching Carton's show. But the truth of the matter is, I know the racist. Ryan Clark, we'll get into him in a minute. But I love the fact, and I think it's an important moment. I love the fact because now I think all the chicken blank little white guys that are so scared to say anything, you got to understand the culture at ESPN. The culture of ESPN is that white guys know their place, which, hey, look, if you want to say, well, it's about time, then fine, it's about time, whatever you want to say. But that's the culture at ESPN. The white dudes, we got to be quiet. We got to take it. They got to take it. I don't have to take it. I judge people by the content of their character, what they say. I evaluate. I'm one of the best listeners ever. Drives my wife crazy. I will listen to what you say and evaluate it and then ask questions about it. You're not allowed to do that at ESPN. You got to go along with stupid. You got to go along with racism. Hell, Sage Steele has to go along with Ryan Clark saying he won't work with her because she is a Republican, a conservative. Again, the battle between sanity and insanity. So Sage, an African-American woman who is proud, actually, to have a white mother, black father, proud of who she is, has to deal with watching this idiot Ryan Clark on television every day. She's had to deal with being not demoted necessarily, but certainly not promoted. She's had to deal with, as a conservative woman, again, it doesn't matter if you're black or white. It just matters, do your values fall in line with idiots? Now, that's what it is. Do your values at ESPN fall in line with the Kendrick Perkins, the Ryan Clarks of the world? They don't in Sage's case. So guess what? Sage is where she is going to be. And in fact, had to sue her own company. Now think about that for just a second. That's the level ESPN is at. That's the level. If you don't acquiesce to the dumbest, the most racist, the most veiled comments, and now they're not being veiled, then you, ladies and gentlemen, can't work there. JJ Redick will be fine for a while, but they'll get him in the end. They being the bosses at ESPN. I know you always have to say who the they is because, what do you mean, man? No, they'll get him in the end. They'll let it go. They'll let it go. And maybe, just maybe, see, you got to understand something like Stephen A. Smith controls the deal, which is really idiotic. But anyway, he does. So Chris Russo doesn't take Stephen A. Smith's crap. So Stephen A. Smith, kisses his backside when he comes on, and Chris Russo's a legend. JJ Redick, who, by the way, I got stories on JJ Redick, Krzyzewski told me, that are mind-boggling. But anyway, the guy on the left there, you see Richard Jefferson, the most unprepared announcer on Sunday nights I have ever heard. But yet, he's got a Sunday night game. Don't know why. I guess because he's Richard Jefferson, I suppose. But nobody is less prepared. But anyway, so at ESPN, they'll eventually get JJ Redick. They'll wait. But you got to fall in line, man. Because the last thing ESPN wants, and they just realigned their management team, is to have any discussion about not being a leader in racist thought, diverse thought. They don't want it. They don't need it. It ain't about, they don't, and you know what else? Is there anybody that ever talked about the big racist until this? Of course not. It's the only way Kendrick Perkins can get him any kind of notoriety outside ESPN pushing the narrative. So it's going to be interesting going forward here at OutKick, man. Hey, you can call us whatever you want, but we just tell you the truth. I just tell you the truth. Clay tells you the truth. And we always get called the names, right? Same old names, whatever. Interesting moving forward. Did JJ Redick open the door for white guys to actually speak their mind in the national media? Going to be fascinating. It really is. The guy on the right is the dumbest. I mean, I worked with him, Mark Jones. Mark Jones, well, of course he is married to a white woman. When Mark Jones started his little rant, I had both white guys and black guys texting me, of all the people, to act like he's oppressed. He's the worst. I can name you the names if you'd like of the folks at ESPN that text me, but I would never do that. Black guys are like, Mark Jones, Dan, really? But hey, everybody's trying to make themselves relevant, and when you're stupid, that's all you can go to. But hey, we shall see what we shall see. I don't know what's going to happen here. We got a great show for you today. Darren DeVries is going to join us. He's a head coach at Drake, and I got to tell you, Drake is good. Drake isn't kind of, sort of, maybe good. Drake is second weekend, possible Final Four good. They got his son, DeVries' son, Tucker, is really good, like a lottery pick good. But their point guard, a kid from Northwest Indiana, Calumet City, went to Bishop Knoll High School, went to something called Bosco Academy. I don't know what the hell it is. I think it's in Crown Point. It's one of these pop-up academies. But anyway, he's great. His name is Roman Penn. All-time leading assist guy in the history of the school. You're going to like him. You're going to really, really like him. Hookstead's going to join us. I love David Hookstead. You want to follow D. Hookstead, you'll love it. And, of course, I'm looking forward to this because he's got a great podcast. I actually thought, this is how dumb I am, there was a McFadden that was running back at Arkansas that I loved. I think he played for the Cowboys. Bryant McFadden is a Super Bowl champ. He is a football analyst and former Florida State Seminole. I'm looking forward to talking to him because he's got a really good podcast. I'm fast. I think we got an unbelievable show today. All right, let's get into other things of the day. Oh, man, everybody mad that Daniel Jones got his money. 4 years, $160 million, $82 million of it, ladies and gentlemen, is guaranteed. Timing is everything. I listened to this lady, Martin. I don't know what the hell her first name is. Kim Martin, maybe, on First Take. I got texts, she said, from people saying this is a terrible contract. So, she says, all around the league, this contract is being questioned. Yeah, really, because you got a few texts, and I'm sure those texts had nothing to do with the race of Daniel Jones compared to the race of Lamar Jackson. I'm sure, Kimberly Martin, they had nothing to do with it. I got 3 texts because I reached out to 3 people in the NFL that I know that are GMs, assistant GMs, et cetera, and they all said, hey, look, man, timing is everything. Timing is everything. It's everything. Daniel Jones, right place, right time. Who are you going to go get? Now, having said that, is he worth that? I got no idea. He's 25 years old. This is why you come out of college early. He's the youngest player to ever get that kind of money. $35 million in incentives. So now they're going to use the franchise tag, $10 million, on Saquon Barkley. And if you want to know the difference in quarterback importance and running back importance, $40 million quarterback, $10 million running back. That's all you need to know. That's all you need to know. You don't need to know any more of it. You just don't. Speaking of Lamar Jackson, Colts, please bring Lamar Jackson here. I don't care if he's injured. I don't care. I am America's #1 Lamar Jackson fan. I am. I want Lamar Jackson on the Colts. Okay, he gets hurt. Oh, he gets hurt. Everybody gets hurt. The best ability is availability. Yeah, pull this and plays Jingle Bells. I want Lamar Jackson here, and I got to tell you, if you got to pay whatever you got to pay, then pay it, and let's go. Let's not mess around. Let's not screw around here. Let's not be idiots, Colts fans. What do you want? You want a rookie that we got to wait for 3 years? Draft a rookie in the 3rd round. And do you really trust Chris Ballard? Do you really, truly trust Chris Ballard? If you've paid attention, the answer is no. N-O spells no. Hell no, you don't trust Chris Ballard. No, there's nothing to trust. And if you do, God bless you. Good for you, man. Good for you. I don't trust him. I don't trust him even a little bit. I don't trust him to make the right quarterback pick. I don't trust him to do anything. Nothing. That's it. I don't trust him at all. If you do, then good. You know what? At the end of the day, your track record says who you are, right? Like Ryan Clark says, well, in his defense of Lamar Jackson, J.J. Watt defended Lamar Jackson. So, of course, Ryan Clark says, well, you know, if If the legend says it, then maybe I'm not just defending Lamar Jackson because he's white or black. Well, track records mean something. And diversity of thought is not in Ryan Clark's deal. I don't care if Lamar Jackson is black, white, green, or purple. I want Lamar Jackson on my team, period. That guy right there. I pay anything. He got the franchise tag. What they're going to do is allow teams to make an offer. Then they go back to the Ravens, and they got 5 days to match the offer, the Ravens do. If not, 2 first-round picks. I want all the picks gone from the Colts because the guy doing the picking stinks. I mean, honest to God, Ben Banigou over A.J. Brown in the modern NFL? I mean, it's not only A.J. Brown, DK Metcalf. The list is full of guys. Terry McLaurin. In the modern NFL, I've been saying this for 100 years on local TV in Indianapolis. You got to have weapons, not linemen. You got to have weapons. Not frickin' Ben Banigou. Well, he's a horseshoe guy. No! No! I think Coach DeFries, we may have gotten the times mixed up with him, but I don't care. I'm on one today. I'm ready to go all freaking day. So the bottom line is this. The bottom line is simply this. Bring Lamar Jackson to Indianapolis. That would be the greatest heist for Indianapolis. See what I'm doing here? To Baltimore since the Mayflower or Mayweather or whatever the hell those van lines are called went from Baltimore carrying the entire front office of the Colts to Indianapolis in 1984. That's right. Give it to me, baby. Give me that stuff, that funk, that sweet, that funky stuff. Give it to me. I'm telling you, I want Lamar Jackson. Well, we got to give up draft picks. All right, let's examine. So you got to give up draft picks. So let's see here. Quentin Nelson, 6th pick. Yeah, all right. Give me another first-round draft choice that the Colts have used that's been any good. I would give up all of the draft picks. I mean, all of them, ladies and gentlemen, if I were the Colts. If I were Jim Irsay, I'd give up. How many draft picks you want? How about I give you all of our draft, you give us Lamar Jackson, and guess what? We'll call it even. I don't want Chris Ballard picking nothing. Are you insane? All right. We all know actions have consequences, right? So Kanye West goes nuts. Follow me here, you peoples. Follow me here. So Kanye West, Lil Yeezy, I don't know what the hell he's called. I mean, Yee, I don't know what the hell. I don't know. He got a great shoe. Jared bought them. They're great. Adidas made a ton of green. They are literally, Adidas, thinking of this. I want you to think about this. Thank you. They are literally thinking of burning almost $1 billion in stuff. Stupid. Look, ain't nobody gonna get mad at you, Adidas. Let me open up your eyes. Kanye and his craziness was yesterday. We've moved on to other, controversies. We've moved on. I mean, hey, look, if you right now put all of Kanye West's stuff on the shelves, you would sell this stuff out in a minute. And nobody, and I mean nobody, get mad at you. Seriously. I get it. He's an idiot. I get it. What he said is ridiculous. I get it. He can never take it back. We get all that. Everybody gets that. But in our world, we're moved on to the next guy. Now it's J.J. Redick against the big stupid. We get it. I'm telling you. I don't know. Maybe Adidas is that morally strong. Good for them. And personally, I would have a hard time selling anything Kanye West. But I am a reader of situations. I am. I read the world that we live in. I pay attention to the world that we live in. And I got to tell you, you put those shoes right there out on a shelf, you put them on your website, yeah, you're going to have some Adidas. Okay, fine. But you know what? Are you in the business of making money? What are you in? Well, we want to be good community partners. Yeah, okay, great. I know you do. Then stop making your shoes in sweatshops, all of you. You want to be good community partners? Stop making your shoes in sweatshops and let's go. Honest to God. Honest to God, I don't know what to tell you. But what I'm spitting to you is right now, as we say in the rap game, I'm spitting truce. That's right. So, you know what? Don't at me about it. Don't at me about it. Because it is an absolute, unequivocal fact that, no, it's not a fact. It's not a fact. I mean, I'm not as stupid as Kendrick Perkins to say that my opinions are facts. Idiot. Anyway, now, it's not a fact. I believe, so it's an opinion, I believe that Kanye West shoes would fly. I don't mean kind of, sort of, maybe. I mean fly off the shelves. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, oh, no, we're going at 9:30 with Coach DeVries. Okay. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, we're mad because we don't support who people have sex with. It's a fascinating world. We must support those that have sex with their same sex, or else, ladies and gentlemen, we must protest you. The most tolerant, we're inclusive, baby. Love is love. Love is love. But if you don't wear our gay pride shirt, you are homophobic, transphobic, every other phobic. Hey, I got to tell you, I ain't wearing it. Not because I have any problem with anybody. It's because, hey, look, I'm here to play hockey. You guys want to support? Great. I'll give money? Great. I'm here to play hockey. I'm sorry. But, well, would you wear it? No. I mean, just ask me the question. Would you wear? No. Hey, you want me to put something on my stick? All right, I'm cool with that. But what I wear is what I wear. I signed up to play for the Minnesota Wild. So I get it. We're all supposed to jump up and down, lose our minds. Oh, you're phobic. You won't wear it. Why? You're promoting hate. No, I'm not. I am a human being. I'm on this planet. I'm in this country. I have the right to wear what I want. I have the right to wear the official team gear. And if you don't want to do it, God bless you. Why are we involved in such groupthink? Why does everything have to be groupthink? Why does everything? It's another example of choice. Folks have the right to choose the things they support, and they do not. Just because you don't wear a jersey or whatever, for whatever reason, doesn't mean you should get vilified. And the people vilifying you are the ones in the wrong. When folks are not 100% in on all groups nowadays, they come after you with full vitriol. It's the second time this season for the NFL. Eric Huber, on Twitter, Eric Hubers, the Minnesota Wild based in Minneapolis, will unironically have a thin blue line night, but supporting inclusively in the sport is apparently a bridge too far. Hockey culture is a stain on society no matter how hard anyone tries. It never gets better. Yeah, really? All right. Really? I mean, honest to God, you guys are unbelievable because they're supporting the police. Look, let me tell you something. If you're going to ask me, I'll support the hell out of the police. If you're going to ask me, I'll wear a thin blue line jersey any day of the week. But I have said this on my radio show for 100 years. I have had many friends over the years that are homosexual. I've had many friends, including a kid back in the day who I grew up with, went to school with, went on vacations with as a family and was a dear friend, lost to AIDS before AIDS was even known what AIDS was. Lost him in college. So don't even try. I understand, well, you're homophobic. No, don't even try. I'm common sense. I don't care who you sleep with. Have a great time. But I'm going to choose who I am going to support. That's the way I look at it. The exact opposite of this whining from Twitter. I'm not saying whining from the team. I'm not saying whining from groups. I'm saying whining from Twitter. The exact opposite is USC offensive lineman Andrew Voorhees. Now, Andrew Voorhees tore his ACL, I want you to listen to this, at the Combine. Tore his ACL at the Combine. Did he go home? No. You know what he did? He went out and did the bench press. And this monster of a man here pumped out at 225, 38 reps, the most of anybody this year at the combine. What they do is they get you on the bench press, they put 225 on there. And you bench press it as many times as you can. Hell, I can't even do this 38 times. You do it as many times as you can, okay? As many as you can do. That's fine. And then what you do is you get up and you scream. But this dude screamed before. Why? Because he tore his freaking ACL. And didn't go home. Didn't cry. Could you imagine? Old street clothes Anthony Davis, who yesterday, you got to give Anthony Davis credit. He got hit in the face. He was bleeding. He went back and dominated the game. Good for him. Because I always liked that kid. Knew him at Scotian High School. Not much. Just a little bit. Met him a few times. I liked him. But street clothes is his middle name for a reason. Anyway, this kid here just said, screw it, man. I'm at the combine. I need to work out. I'm strong as hell. I've worked my brains out. Now, I don't know the bench press. I've done the bench press a lot back in the day. The bench press and curls were basically all you did. However, it seems to me that your legs/knees could help in the bench press. Dude had a torn ACL. Dude had a torn ACL, and he lifted more than anybody at the freaking combine. That's unbelievable. That is freaking credible. I'm drafting that guy. He may be no good. Slow feet, man. His arms aren't long enough. Yeah, whatever. McShay. But I got to tell you, he, ladies and gentlemen, gets drafted by me because Urban Meyer had a great quote about lifting. All right? Don't tell me how much you can lift. Tell me how much you can lift when you're dead tired and done. Can you do one more? That's a great quote. I need to have quotes like that. My quotes are more like sack up. You know what I mean? Stand on your head and poop snowballs. I don't have great quotes. I need something that I need to Obama it. Is there anybody in the history of politics that spoke more and said less than Obama? Every speech he wanted written on the side of a monument. The hubba is a direct correlation to the you-know-what. Wow. And everybody went, that's deep, man. That's deep. Stupid. Anyway, Dan, thanks for the show today. You got it, buddy. I am having a great day. You are having a great day. I'm so all in on college basketball. I'm 1,000% in. Last night, took one parlay. I put a $300 parlay down because I was very, very sure that this was going to happen. I got a new system. And I want you to think about this system as you gamble. So last night, I took, just before we get to Coach DeFries, last night I took a parlay. Only bet I made. UMass Lowell was winning when I took them. Virginia Tech was tied when I took them. And I knew Gonzaga was going to beat the crap out of St. Mary after I watched St. Mary play the other night. So I had two teams that were tied or in the lead, and I took Gonzaga. $300 parlay, paid $839.47. So I'm going to give you my running total for the month. For the month, I can show it to you here too, if you guys don't believe me, because the Indy Star says I'm a liar. But here it is. I am up, I don't know if there's anything on this, $2,419, real quick, $2,419.18 this week. There you go. And today it starts. Big Ten tournament starts today. Big East tournament starts today. I already got my workout in. That's right. And I'm going to do some sitting. After we talk to Coach DeVries, between 10:20 and 10:30, I am going to give you a parlay today that I am putting a lot of money on because, frankly, if this loses, I'll take the loss. I'll absolutely take the loss. 10:20, I'm going to give you, Cashman, a parlay. It's not a huge one. I'm trying to win here. That's how I'm up $2,400 this month. I'm trying to win. Oh, that's really going out on a limb. No, we don't go out on limbs when we gamble. Going out on limbs is called gambling. We invest. We're smart. We know the backstory. the lay of the land. That's why I'm up. I can tell you what I'm up on the year before we get to Coach DeFreeze. You ready? I think I'm up about $4,000 this year. I think so. We'll be right back.
Yeah, man, thanks for coming on. And so much to talk about. And I kind of just want to dive right in as somebody that I watch your show, and these are conversations that you have had in the past couple of months. And, you know, NIL is such a game changer when it comes to different aspects of college sports. And we're starting to see that influx when it comes to boosters, people around the program, how schools are navigating. Before we get into like the inner wellings of it, what's been your thoughts on how this has played out over the last 2 years?
Is an implosion waiting to happen. Kind of what I said a few years before it started. I came on someone, I think I was on McAfee when I said about 3 years ago, I'm like, listen, the NIL should not be conducted this way. It should not be formatted this way. It should not be constructed this way or created this way. And they're like, what do you mean? And I'm like, it's going to end up imploding college football, and it will be the end of junior college. It'll be the end of high school recruiting. It'll be the end of a lot of this stuff compiled with transfer portal. So I say you put these two things together, you're gonna kill JUCO, which 3 years later, right now to this day, we just had our second California JUCO fold. Kansas JUCOs are not doing well at all. Mississippi is not doing well at all. Resource-wise, you're not going to have the resources you once have. You've already seen the entire state of Arizona lose junior college football. So, you're having this influx that people don't realize that has a direct impact just from the correlation of these things. And people don't really look into it deep because they just want to see what's on the surface. They only look through the optical lens of things. They don't really dive into anything. And it blows my mind that we're in this analytical world and we don't look into the data and the analytics. We just want to talk on Twitter because all people on Twitter know all things, right? So when I'm sitting there talking and I'm sitting there looking into it and I'm like, well, look, what they should have did was, by the way, a good friend of mine growing up with Ed O'Bannon, he's the one that started this whole thing with the NCAA NIL deal. We played high school basketball together, and Charles and Ed, and he started this thing, and it's crazy, right? It's a slap in the face. NCAA, we already know what that stands for, non-caring assholes of America. They basically pay everybody like $11, right? 100,000 people get paid like $11. Oh, we won. Well, you didn't really win. You created this NIL deal, which basically is for the 1%ers, Trey. 1%ers. Yeah. Think about it. Everyone thinks on the outside looking in that these kids are getting millions. No, 1%, if that, I would actually say 0.001% is actually getting the millions. The rest of the percentage, the 99.9% of the kids are average NIL dollar. I don't know if you know what it is, but it's $300.
You know, I've been talking about Drake, the basketball team, not the Seinfeld character, all year. I have a rooting interest. Marty Richter is an assistant there. Marty, one of the great guys that I've ever worked with. But more than that, I love good basketball. And Darren DeVries is the coach of Drake, and they just won the Missouri Valley. Which coach makes this the greatest week of the year? You're already in. You know you got a good team, and you get to watch other people suffer. Congrats, Coach.
Yeah, thank you. It is the greatest week in the world for the coach in the Valley when they win it this year, because it's you get this whole week to kind of just take it all in and know that your name's going to come up on Sunday, so you just get to enjoy it.
Coach, you guys got up. I try to explain this to people, but you're in it. I've been out of it way too long. I try to explain this to people. What happened I don't know if you saw the Iowa game where they came back down 13, all that kind of stuff. That's happened to every coach both ways, right? You've had that happen to you, and you've done that. You guys get out, huge lead, and I'm watching the game, and the fans are celebrating. They're already in the tournament, but you got to coach a second half, right? Like, how much of past experience, either you came back from something or they came back against you, factored into your second half coaching in the Valley Championship against Bradley?
Yeah, no, I'm with you. It's scarier than people think because they're everybody's, oh, you're up by 20, it's over, and it's not. it's just not. We all have great examples. You just mentioned that Iowa game. What a wild game, by the way, where teams have come back in just the most unforeseen circumstances that nobody could have predicted, just the way a game is going and stuff. So, it wasn't until about 2 minutes left or so that I actually start to feel good about it.
Right.
I think
that's it, right?
Our 5-man banked in a 3 with like 2 minutes to go, and it's like, okay, this is our night. That's his first 3 ever.
Hey, there is a time. You're right. There is a breaking time. I remember we were up 10 against Minnesota when I was interim coach at Indiana with 1:20 to go, and the crowd is yelling for a walk-on. And I'm like, are you out of your freaking mind? I don't give a you guys, no. But 20 with a bank 3, you got to know it's your night.
Yeah.
Hey, Coach, how you have built, this isn't just a one-year deal. You guys have been really good. How have you built this program? There's a lot of ways to build it. How have you built this program? What's been your philosophy here?
I think the biggest thing is we've had great guys in our program, extremely competitive guys, unselfish guys, and we were able, our first year, we had a huge class to sign. We had to bring in 8 guys that very first class, and we were fortunate. We ended up with just a great group that connected, and then they were able to kind of take it right away from there, where your culture's already established in your locker room and became player led almost immediately.
As you moved into the NIL era, as you moved into transfer portals, you have an old team. Has your philosophy from your first start, has it changed? And how have you gotten such an old team?
Yeah, I think our guys have just, with the COVID year and things, you get that extra year. And we had a group of guys that had been together for a while, 3 in particular that were with us the whole time. And they all wanted to come back to do exactly what happened this weekend. They wanted another chance to try to win a Missouri Valley Conference title, and wanted to pursue that. They're all getting their master's degrees, so it made sense for them. Obviously, that made a lot of sense for us to want them back. So it turned out to be just an awesome experience for everybody.
Coach, that speaks to your culture because, guys are flying in, guys are flying out of programs. That speaks to players enjoying the experience of playing for you and for playing at Drake.
Yeah, I think we talked to recruits about that too. The guys have opportunities to leave. It's the era we're in with the Pro and NIL, and the fact that these guys wanted to come back and enjoy another year together says they were enjoying their experience, and certainly we are fortunate to have them do that.
Coach, your son, Tucker, is not a good player. He's a great player. I've always said if you're the most valuable player in a league, yes, he's got terrific teammates. Yes, he's got a great coach, but you're a great player if you're a player of the year in the league, particularly as a sophomore. Growing up, what did you see in your son? Did you see at a young age he was going to be pretty good?
I don't know if I could honestly say that. He could always shoot it pretty good. It just it took a while for the rest of that game to all come together, and then he hit a growth spurt about his sophomore year or so, and then he went from that 6'2" to 6'6" range, and then things started to change for him a little bit. But before that, he was, he just had a ball in his hands and he loved to play, but never really probably envisioned him getting to that level. I remember joking with some of my staff at Creighton that he could probably walk on somewhere. That was when he was a freshman or so. So they've they've kind of let me have it over the years about that evaluation that I had.
Hey, look, I've always thought this, and you can tell me if I'm right or wrong. I always thought if you're going to coach your son, it's hard, right? But it's easier if he's either the best player on the team or he's the worst player on the team, right? Because worst player, mom doesn't interfere wanting him to play. Best player, everybody respects, and there's no, hey, he's just playing because of his dad. Can you speak to that at all?
Yeah, there's probably some truth to that. I think the other big piece is you got to have really good teammates, and we certainly do, and because that's not easy, and especially we had a situation where we had a group of guys when he came in as a freshman that were all fourth-year seniors and had plenty of success. So for them to invite him into that locker room and welcome him the way they did these last couple of years, I think again says a lot about the guys in our locker room. Because it would have been really easy for them to, hey, this is my team, but our group just cared about winning. So that's the part that made it so special is that group of guys. And when you have a coach's kid, it's how does that locker room interact, and it's been awesome for us.
Did you worry about that, or did he know the players really well before he even came, or a little bit of both?
Yeah, he knew the guys pretty well, just from he was in high school right here in town and was able to get to a lot of the games. So he was, around the locker room and things. So yeah. He already had a pretty good relationship with the guys coming into it.
Coach, you and I off air, Roman Penn is near and dear to my heart. You've had kids from Maryville, Gary, Bishop Knoll, which was my rival. This kid has overcome a lot. He's the all-time leading assist guy. Watching your team, you can tell he has great command of basically the court and everything going on. Introduce the folks to Roman Penn.
Yeah, he's been incredible for us, a leader on and off the floor, both ends of the floor. He's battled through 3 foot surgeries. He's broken his foot 3 different times since he's been here. He had foot surgery at the end of the year last year, and then our first day back in classes, he was playing in open gym and broke it on the very first day of class again. So you talk about a resilient, tough competitor. He's who you'd put at the top of that list.
Coach, correct me if I'm wrong. I know he was at Siena. Was he a walk-on at Siena?
No. He went there.
Okay.
Yeah.
This week, we mentioned, you got the week. What do you do? How do you balance, rest, rust, getting ready? It's Wednesday. What's a schedule like with a week off this time of year?
Yeah, so we finished up our conference tournament on Sunday, gave the guys off, Monday and Tuesday. And then today we'll do kind of just a shooting workout, some skill workouts to kind of get back into it, start to go a little heavier tomorrow, take another day off Friday, and then get back into compete mode, starting Saturday and Sunday, find out who we play Sunday night, and then get ready for a game prep.
For people that don't understand it, can you define compete mode?
Yeah, just getting the practice where you're going at it, competing, on getting ready to play, instead of maybe doing 5-on-0 or just some shooting drills, those type of things. Where now we're hitting bodies again, we're doing box out drills, we're one-on-one defense, those type of things to just get your mind back into, hey, we're going to try to win a game or in this next few days.
Your brother, I remember your brother. I remember your brother playing football. I'm a kind of a weird Iowa offensive lineman, defensive lineman fan. I had 2 friends of mine's sons play offensive line, and everybody gets drafted at Iowa. Like every offensive lineman in the history of Iowa has been drafted and all that. Did your brother beat the crap out of you when you were a kid?
No, I didn't let him do that. Once he was able to, I stopped. I just walked away a winner. You got to be smart about it.
Yeah, I used to tell my brother, hey, my name's Willie, not silly. I'm going to run away here because I don't need the crap beat out of me by, when I'm 3 years younger. Hey, Coach, a couple of things. Your league, I loved watching it. I mean, I watched it, constantly. Bradley, really, really good. Missouri State, uber athletic. Give a little pub for your league. I'm hoping 2 teams. I don't see it. You probably would have been in. Talk about the Valley, if you don't mind.
Yeah, the Valley is such a competitive league. I mean, there's such a small gap between, first place team and last place team each year. I just think every night it's, games are decided, by just a couple possessions on most nights. So it's one of those leagues where, there is a little bit of parity. So it does make things a little tough at times to, try to get away. But it's also what makes the league so fun. It's just great basketball, and it's, fans seem to really enjoy it. There's great rivalries within the league because it's been, a league that's been together for such a long time. And there's been, a few teams additions and some teams have left along the way, but it's kind of stayed the same valley, competitive valley for a long, long time.
State of Iowa is like that too. AAU Iowa and Minnesota are 2 great, I think, basketball states, particularly for development, high school players, AAU players, that kind of thing.
Yeah, there's a lot of great coaching, and the talent level is good as well, and it's just fun. I mean, it's you watch kids, locally, surrounding states, and watch them compete, and the opportunities now for these kids is so great too. It's they get to go all over the country to play basketball, which is a lot of fun for them.
Coach, are you a guy, do you pay attention to seeding? Are you looking at Lenardi and all these guys to see where your seat is? Are you kind of guy that watches like Jim Boeheim, you walk into his office, he may be watching, I don't know, Division III boys regional game. He doesn't care. He's watching hoops all the time. Do you study the tournament in terms of where your position may be?
Not a ton. I mean, we have a pretty good idea and a general idea like where we're going to be. I mean, you can start to look at teams that maybe, hey, if we're seated here, who would be maybe a group of teams that you would play, but most of that's just going to come out Sunday, and then we go to work. I just check it to make sure our name's still up there. That they didn't take it down in the last couple of days. So.
Coach, they take that one down. I mean, Billis will go nuts. Vitale will be it. No, that ain't happening. Hey, last thing. How much fun? Like as a coach, you want the players to enjoy it, right? I mean, and got to be when you walked into that locker room, the look in the players' eyes. How cool is that?
Yeah, it's a special feeling, and especially when you have a group of guys like I had this year that I've been with for so long, to see the joy in their faces and watch them celebrate together. I don't know that there's a finer moment in coaching than you'll have than that.
Do you dance? I mean, I see all these coaches dancing. I'm like, man, I'm glad I didn't coach when you had to dance. Do you dance? I didn't see video.
No, there's no dancing. Maybe a fist pump or 2. That's about it. That's about all I got.
Right. I mean, I'm with you. Like, man, I don't know about that dancing stuff, man. You know what? One thing about dancing videos is they're forever. Just remember that. They never go away, man.
Yeah, I'm going to stick to the fist pumps. Maybe a couple of jumps up and down, and then we're going to call it good.
Coach, rooting like crazy for you. Thanks for coming on, man. I really appreciate it. It's been a really sitting in my house in Indianapolis. It's been a blast to watch your team this year and in previous years. I thanks for your time and good luck in the tournament, man. We're rooting like hell for you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
You got it. That's Coach Darren DeVries of Drake. I've been telling you for freaking weeks, Drake is really good. Like old, smart, well-coached, tough, has a star player, has a star guard. There isn't anything that Drake is going to put out there that they can't handle in any of your high major teams. And when the bracket comes out on Monday, we're going to show you, Drake. We'll see. Maybe a matchup is good. Maybe a matchup is bad. I honestly don't know, but they won their conference tournament 77-51. over the conference champ Bradley. They had two players. One of them is the kid that I was talking about, Roman Penn. He's great. And Tucker DeFries, my people tell me this kid could be a lottery pick. I mean, he's long, he shoots it, he's athletic, he's tough, he finishes around the rim, he's not afraid of big moments. I mean, to me, that's big-time stuff. Now, I'm telling you, it is really, really a good basketball team. And it's one of those basketball teams that if anybody says on any broadcast, well, Drake came out of nowhere. No, they didn't. No, and as Coach told you, these guys have been together for a while. These guys aren't messing around. These guys are mature. I mean, they're big time mature. So, at the end of the day, don't at me, people, because Drake has a squad. Big time squad. Now, here's what you got to understand about the tournament. The easiest things to say are going to be matchups are important. And while that's true, the fact of the matter is, and remember this, I'm going to give you 5 minutes, 6 minutes of gold right here. Just absolute tournament gold. You're not going to hear it anywhere else unless I do a show somewhere. The truth of the matter is, yes, matchups do matter. But the fact is, every team in college basketball offensively plays the same. I've talked about this forever. Side handoff, roll the pick guy, replace the guy, ball screen. I mean, if you watched a tape of not Indiana, because Indiana just stands around and throws it inside. There's like two teams. But if you watch any other tape, you take Indiana too. They do the same thing. And you didn't have a jersey on and it wasn't in the gym that had Assembly Hall or Purdue or Drake or Iowa, whatever. If you just put in a team and you didn't know, and I said, all right, what team is this? Based on how they run offense. And then this, and then this, and then this, and took a team from every league, maybe two from every league. You'd say, man, everybody does the same thing. So matchups aren't that important. What becomes important is health. Health is huge. Jalen Clark being hurt for UCLA, that's a big deal. Maybe not in the first round, but moving forward, health is big. Really, really, really big. The second thing that you got to look at is defensively. Look, teams that can get hot defensively, and everybody plays the same, so everybody's guarding the same crap every day. But the team that can get hot defensively, look at good defensive teams. Yes, you got to score points. Yes, no question. And that's why I like Drake. They guard like crazy. They'll play fast. One of the reasons, and it's an anomaly to what I'm saying, the Pac-12 is just going to go. Pac-12 is athletic, skilled, well-coached, and they just go. Now, reason UCLA's been able to come into that league and not dominate it, but, hey, get to Final Fours, win the championship, is because they also guard. When you are look at some defensive numbers on your team because everybody plays the same. Because they do that. Guarding is easy. Easier. Even on a one-day scout. People say, and Gottlieb said this yesterday, well, guarding Edey on a one-day scout is hard. Yes and no. I mean, you're going to play the post one of three ways. You're going to play him individually, one-on-one. You're going to double him, right? I mean, those two are in play. And the third way is you're going to combine the both. You're going to combine both. That's it. I mean, there's a lot of ways to play the post, but they all come down to those three things. So playing Edey isn't any more difficult than playing Trace Jackson Davis because you're going to have to play the post, either individually, in a double, or a combination. It's really, that stuff gets overblown. And you're going to hear a lot of dumb people give you playing on a one day. Hey, look, these guys, they play in tournaments. Everybody plays offense the same. So don't buy into none of that crap. I'm just telling you. You know what it comes down to? It really comes down to who can make the most shots. Get hot defensively. Make the most shots. The Woods is full of teams that had, quote, great looks, but we didn't knock them in, that lost. Oh, man. God dang it, Lick, or Gritty Jen, or Jody Shelton. I'm telling you, David Rose, we had great looks. Wonderful. You know why North Carolina got to the national championship game last year? They made tough shots. Seth Greenberg and I are going to talk about it. I'm trying to get Seth on maybe Thursday or Friday. They make tough shots. Pros make tough shots. College kids make open shots. You got to make the open shots. It's that simple. Well, it's all about the matchup. No, it's not. No. It used to be when everybody didn't run the same thing. It used to be. But now, get hot defensively. Have your post guy play center field. I wish I could put film on here. I wish I could do a film study with you. And I would show you what center field means by a post guy. Next time, if you watch a game today, all right, and the team is playing man-to-man. I know Syracuse plays coming up here at noon, and they play a zone. But a team plays man-to-man, okay? All right, they're playing man-to-man. All right. Don't watch the ball. Don't watch the perimeter. Watch how many actions, we'll call it, rolls, drives, back cuts, that a post guy defensively takes away in the lane. Just try to watch the post guy defensively. It's really fun to watch. I mean, you're going to say it's boring. Go, well, watch the ball. Hey, you can see the ball. You're going to watch the ball. But watch the post guy. He takes away a cut here. He's over here on a drive. And that's where Edey struggles. Because it's hard for Edey at Purdue to make a move here and then make a move there. Because it's huge. So a matchup against Zach Edey, nah. I got to talk to David Hookstead. See, here's the deal. At OutKick, our leader is Clay Travis. He's our leader. People accuse me of regurgitating Clay Travis's talking points. I don't care, as long as the check's clear. All right? America's conscience is Bobby Barack. Everybody has a role. Bobby Barack is America's conscience. Before J.J. Redick, he's the only white dude, at least in the print media, that calls everybody out. But our toughness is defined by David Hookstead. He's the Dennis Rodman to my Michael Jordan. Well, okay, my Scottie Pippen. All right, maybe I'm Ron Hunter. I get it. Or, yeah, Ron Harper. All right. But Hookstead is, think Charles Oakley. Think, I'm going back before Hookstead was even born. Think Maurice Lucas. Back in the day, 1977, I think it was, cover of Sports Illustrated, they had a headline, Enforcers, and there was Mo Lucas. Think Larry Williams in hockey. That's Hookstead. He's next. I got to go potty. I'll be right back.
Welcome into OutKick the show. I am Clay Travis, your fearless leader.
I am going to continue to argue that sports is one of the great unifying forces in all of American life.
ESPN is a sinking ship. Democrats are now the party of the white, woke college graduate.
So the higher that number can be, the better you are with the committee. It's really that simple.
You gotta lean into the turns. You really gotta lean into the turns.
He's got incredible taste in which media figures he listens to.
Very difficult to go back-to-back years in the NFL with the #1 overall pick.
I've been out of LA long enough to have forgotten that libs, no matter how ridiculous the scenario, are gonna live. Another week of inflation, another week with Biden with COVID, and another set of losers to crown. People don't watch the WNBA on TV, in person, on a plane, on a train, on a bus, or on purpose.
The scary thing, Tommy, is in the history of this government, I've never seen them give anything back that they've taken.
Oh no, they never do.
And they won't.
Why are we going through Melania's goods? Don't make Brittany Griner out to be some type freedom fighter. Shouldn't there be a little bit of common sense? Let's roll them, big boy. What do you got?
They want to find someone to be the face of domestic terrorism, and they want it to be a right-wing Trump supporter. Don't let them entrap you into doing something dumb. But they were hyper-rational. They looked at the data, and they said it makes no sense for me to submit to this COVID shot mandate.
Get the shot or you can't go to your brother's wedding. Get the shot or you can't go to your daughter's graduation. Get the shot or else.
I don't think the buildup for David Hookstead was enough. Welcome, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing great, Dan. Great to see you. What a great day of Big Ten basketball we're going to have today, too. Exciting times.
Ooh. Let me jump right into that. I got a lot to get into you with. The Badgers, they could use a win. I think they're going to get a win today. I do. I think they win today.
I think we'll beat Ohio State, but the problem is, Dan, we need probably 2 wins. I think beating Ohio State's a good start. Beating Iowa on Thursday definitely gets the job done. I'm staying optimistic, trying to watch Herb Brooks' Miracle on Ice speeches to get myself in the mood. I'm ready to go. Let's beat Ohio State 1 game at a time. It's March, baby. This is what March is all about, survive and advance.
Man, I told my wife because I am on fire, live betting games. Just look, if you hear something coming out of the basement, disregard it. I gave her a safe word, strawberry. If you hear strawberry, that means I've either stabbed myself, ran through a window because something went south. What a great day. You're right. All right, you have been heading up our Ja Morant coverage. What say you?
Well, the biggest question now with Ja Morant is whose gun was it? Now, I've reached out to the Glendale Police Department multiple times. As of yesterday, the last time I spoke to the people running the investigation, they still don't know whose gun it is. Now, here's why that's important, Dan. If it's Ja Morant's gun, it likely means he brought it on an NBA plane and had it with him while conducting NBA business. That automatically is going to result in a massive suspension. We're talking 50 games minimum probably. If it was someone else's gun in the strip club who maybe handed it to him, it changes the dynamics. But the problem is the police have told me many times, they cannot figure out where the gun is, whose gun it is, or any information. And right now, that is the biggest piece of the puzzle, who owned the gun.
David, I'm old, okay? And I'm from an era where if the police ask you a question, you give them an answer. Apparently, that doesn't fly here. Asking Morant or his peeps a question doesn't get the answer, correct?
Yeah, it doesn't seem like they are offering up that answer. And to be quite fair, if I was Ja Morant's attorney, and I've said this privately to other people, I would have told him to destroy that gun the moment the video came out. Destroy it, make sure it's never found, and then just lie through your teeth and tell the police someone gave it to you, you don't know whose it was. That's your only strategy, because hypothetically, if it is his gun and he admits to it, and the police might find it out anyways, he is going to lose tens of millions of dollars. He's going to be suspended. He could lose his Nike contract. For him, he has no incentive to tell the truth. I'm not advocating for lying to the police, of course. I am telling your audience what his lawyer almost certainly has told him to do.
You know, I have a family full of lawyers and prosecutors. My sister and brother were both prosecutors. My sister, 25 years, my brother, about 7. And you're exactly right. What Ja Morant does need to do, throw the gun in the bottom of a lake somewhere, not a river. I've learned rivers have currents, and it may wash up somewhere. True story. Throw it in a lake. Always throw the weapon in a lake, a deep lake, and start lying through your teeth, because the stakes are, let's be honest, the stakes are really high here for Morant.
Yeah, you're talking again about a 50-game suspension. In theory, his contract, if he's suspended for cause, could be voided. Nike could absolutely void his contract, which includes a signature shoe. You're talking dozens and dozens of games the rest of the season into next season. More money he'll lose than the average American makes in 10 lifetimes. He needs to make smarter decisions, and part of that begins with surrounding yourself with better individuals, okay? I've heard you say it. I completely agree. There's blame to be had everywhere, including with his own father. Many people have said that. It is this simple. You are a reflection of the people you surround yourself. If you want to carry guns and wear chains and act like you're a tough guy and act like you're some gangster from the hood, those decisions will catch up with you. It's very similar to what we've seen out of Alabama, actually. Make smart decisions. The Grizzlies need to put smart people around them, because I can tell you, we've seen this movie before, Dan, and it has a tragic ending if it's not stopped.
I'm not going to pretend that I'm from the hood, but in basketball and growing up in Gary, Indiana, I knew a lot of dudes that were legit gangsters, and they didn't want to be gangsters. Like if you could say to them, hey, look, man, you can go play in the NBA and you can be a multi-million-dollar, billion, whatever, they would take that in a second. It's amazing how dudes that aren't hard are trying to be hard. And it's like that movie Good Will Hunting, when Matt Damon gets told by Affleck, hey, look, if you're still laying brick here in 10 years, I'm going to beat the hell out of you because you got a gift. You got to go. It's sad. And I do blame. I want you to go a little bit, like, go nuts on his dad. His dad's an idiot, a fool, and he decided to be part of the scene, not be a father.
Absolutely. Here, let me speak about my own dad to contrast it. If I was 23 years old, posting videos of myself flashing guns in the fashion he was, and understand, Dan, I own guns, my dad owns guns, we hunt, we believe in the Second Amendment. It's nothing about that. This is about being essentially an absolute complete idiot. Your job as a father figure is to discipline your children, especially your male children, because young men without guidance are inherently going to make reckless, stupid decisions. Now we have a man in Ja Morant, his dad, who has allowed his multimillionaire 23-year-old son to go completely off the rails while armed. Okay, I cannot stress that enough, while armed. If I pulled this stunt at the age of 23, my dad would have pulled me out of whatever situation I was in, and I would have been terrified at the consequences, even if I was a millionaire. It's not about that. Your job as a father is not to be someone's friend. Your job as a father is to save young men from themselves, which Ja Morant has failed. He should be ashamed of himself. It is disgusting. He has failed as a man. He has failed as a father. And his son's decisions, frankly, are a reflection of the leadership he is failing to get. And that, at the end of the day, falls on the dad.
This is going to be hard for you to imagine, but when I was 50 years old, basically I got divorced, 48, 50 years old. And I'm not going to lie to you. In the world of middle-aged divorced men, having a job puts you at the head of the line. Having a very visible job that everybody around knows you puts you at the top of the line for hijinks, women. I'm not lying either. I mean, it was insane. And I started acting in a way, even on my 50th birthday, that I was a jerk. My dad and my dad calls me up in the morning, he goes, hey, let's have coffee. And every time my dad said, let's have coffee, I'm like, oh, crap. Now I'm 50 years old. I've raised 2 kids, David. We meet. He reads me the riot act. You're headed down a bad path. And he's right. Like, so as a 50-year-old, I needed my dad to straighten me out because I'd never been in this situation before. I was married 23 years. I was dating the same woman for 4 before it. Now a whole new world opened up to me, David. I needed my father. I always use that analogy. Same thing you said with your father. My father wasn't going to get into the life with me. He was going to straighten my ass out.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's frustrating to even think about because I have no children, but if I did have a child and they flashed a pistol in a strip club after a long laundry list of other issues, let's remember that, Dan. He is accused of being in a vehicle where someone flashed a laser possibly attached to a weapon at the Indiana Pacers. He is accused of beating up a teenager and possibly flashing a weapon in that situation. So this guy can't stay out of trouble. If you love your child, your job is to not coddle them and pat them on the back and tell them how cool they are and how awesome they are. Your job is to keep them alive and to protect them. Do we think Ja Morant has protected his 23-year-old multimillionaire son? No, he's embraced this gangster wannabe fake mentality. It is going to get his son potentially killed. It is going to get his son in major trouble. Because let me ask you this, Stan. Ja Morant is going to possibly flash a gun at the wrong person. And when he flashes a gun at the wrong person, how is that situation going to end? I'm serious. How does his dad think that situation is going to end? It's going to end up with Ja Morant dead. And we're going to say, why didn't anyone intervene? It's that simple.
Yeah, and this isn't like the dad has to make a comeback. The dad, by all accounts, great dad with the kids growing up, great family.
Right.
You know, this is all fake. It's just all fake. And getting, you know, I told my son and my daughter, I go, look, when I'd be doing a basketball game, let's say for ESPN, and some student, you know, Wisconsin, whatever, would rip me, I would send it to my kids. And I said, I got to tell you something. If you ever do this to an adult, on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, social media, I'm no longer paying for your college. I'm just telling you. You're not, you know, let me but if you ever go after an announcer or somebody, I said, I'm not paying. You can do it, but I ain't paying. Dads are here to straighten this crap out. All right, I want to play from yesterday, J.J. REDICK ripping the big racist Kendrick Perkins. I wish we could see Kendrick Perkins and his immature little look, but let's hear from J.J. REDICK, and I want you to react to it, big dog.
I want to just say something. Stephen A., I mean no offense to you, and I mean no offense to First Take, because I think this show is extremely valuable. It is an honor to be on this desk every day. It really is. But what we've just witnessed is the problem with this show, where we create narratives that do not exist in reality. The implication, what you are implying, that the white voters that vote on NBA are racist, that they favor white people. You just said that. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. That is exactly what you implied, Kendrick Perkins. That is exactly what you implied. Secondly, hold on.
I did not call. I stated the facts. And you're not about to sit up.
We all know what you implied the other day. We all know what you implied just now. Hold on.
I stated it's the facts. It's the facts. It's the facts.
Okay.
Is there a bigger I would use a word that I won't want to use because we can't monetize it, but what a baby that guy is, and what a racist, immature punk. You may disagree.
Oh, I don't disagree. Kendrick Perkins is a living example of what happens when you put essentially an uneducated idiot on TV. That's who Kendrick Perkins is. Let's not massage it. Let's not embrace the bigotry of low expectations that his defenders are trying to use. He's a grown man. He's an adult man, and he went on TV, tried to imply NBA voters, a league that is almost overwhelmingly majority black, or somehow racist. And the problem is when a very stupid person goes toe-to-toe with someone who has intelligence, J.J. REDICK, Duke educated, well-spoken, smart guy, they get crushed. Now, he didn't try to respond to REDICK's calling him out with calm responses. He started screaming, those are the facts, those are the facts, those are the facts. I hate to tell you, and I don't want to be the first guy to have to educate Kendrick Perkins on the difference between a fact and an opinion. An opinion is something you believe that is open to interpretation. Facts are something that can't be disproven. He doesn't even know the difference between the two words, and he's screaming on TV like we're supposed to believe him. He should be ashamed of himself. If you or I went on TV and we accused an entire group of people without proof of being racist, you and I would be in big trouble. That is a fact. That's not an opinion. That is a fact.
Do you think, because I've had guys on Twitter, African-American guys, saying, good for him, about time a white guy stood up. Do you think this opens the door for white guys to actually say what is truth in response, and actually white guys that don't work at OutKick, because only OutKick really, and maybe the Blaze, does it? Do you think it opens the door for white guys to say, hey, look, dumbass, you're being racist here, or you're being stupid here? Because you're not allowed to do that right now.
Right, you're not allowed. That is true. You're not allowed to do that. Well, I hope it doesn't just open the door for white people. It opens the door for everyone to call out nonsense. As an American, you have an obligation and a duty when confronted with false claims of racism to push back on it. That should be your default position. If you accuse me of being racist and it's not true, or you accuse someone else of being racist and it's not true, my duty is to push back on you. J.J. REDICK did that, and look at the support he's gotten. Everyone is singing his praises. Their strength in numbers, hopefully the amount of overwhelming support he's received proves, hey, stand up to these bullies, stand up to these idiots, stand up to these clowns, and don't tolerate this racist, disgusting nonsense.
I agree. Honest to God, it is interesting. It is fascinating. And his response, it's one of those deals where you go, all right, you've been exposed. Because all you're going to do, I don't know if you saw the video, but he turns his head. He acts like a 2-year-old.
Yeah.
He does. And fine. But he just got exposed. Now, what I love about ESPN is they're actually promoting him more. I never saw this, but on the bottom line, see Kendrick Perkins every day. This is the greatest thing for Kendrick Perkins because he's so stupid, he's so insignificant, he's so immature, he's so uninformed that no one's ever going to pay attention to his basketball opinions. But the race card shall set this man at a stature that he would have never received if he had to do it by merit.
Right. Playing the race card is the skill of the untalented. When you don't have anything else to say or do, you throw the race card on the table and you scream at the top of your lungs. And then if anyone criticizes you, you just accuse them of being racist. Kendrick Perkins is an idiot. He's not intelligent. He's not good on TV. He has no idea what he's talking about. And as soon as he was confronted with basic logic, he started screaming like a child. We wouldn't tolerate that behavior out of a 12-year-old. Why are we tolerating out of a full-grown adult man?
All right, couple of things. Matthew Stafford, rumors of his retirement, draft plans, all that kind of stuff. Are they going to screw my Colts? Because I want the Colts to, I don't even want them to move up. I want them to get Lamar Jackson. But at worst, move up to the number 1 pick. Are the Rams going to do something stupid here and jump my Colts?
Well, I don't think Stafford's actually going to retire. So I think you can rest easy. I think you can take a deep breath there. He said in December he wasn't going to. Now, he did have some serious injury issues this past year. He had a spinal issue, concussion issue. He's banged up. But let me give you one number that matters the most, Dan. It's $300 million. That's how much Matt Stafford has made in his career. That is the only thing that makes me think, if I had $300 million, do I really need to play another season and get banged up? Probably not, but he says he's going to play. I don't believe the rumors. Your Colts are going to be fine. The Rams aren't going to do anything.
Isaiah Thomas, when he was head of the Players Association, told Coach Knight and I, he goes, yeah, and he wasn't complaining. We were just talking about NBA salaries because they had just started to get a little crazy. Not where they are now, but they had really started, and Isaiah was obviously a superstar. And we were just sitting in the office one day talking about that. He goes, 52% of 52 cents on every dollar of an NBA player basically goes somewhere else, meaning taxes or fees, and then you got agent, all that kind of stuff. So look, maybe Matthew Stafford, what'd you say, $300 million? So he's under $150 million take home. Yeah, he's under $150 million take home. Maybe he needs another year or two. I don't know. Who can live on that?
Yeah, that's true. You got to, when you only have $150 million, budgeting is very important. You have to watch every penny. Only eat out every once in a while, live below your means, because $150 million will dry up on you quick, Dan. That'll dry up on you quick.
Hey, look, just get the app, go door dashing, help yourself out, have a little extra, multiple income streams. There's nothing worse. All right, I want to get to this. I cannot let you go with this. I mentioned Lamar Jackson. I want Lamar Jackson, and I know, don't come on my show as the Minister of Defense, of the Ambassador of Toughness on this show, and give me cliches like availability is the best ability. Stop it. I want Lamar Jackson on my freaking team. I don't want draft picks. Colts can't draft. The GM sucks at the draft. Just give me Lamar Jackson. Why are people not wanting Lamar Jackson? I want Lamar Jackson.
Well, I think the argument his biggest critics would make is that his postseason success is essentially incredibly limited, right? And even if so let's not discuss the injuries. He actually hasn't done a whole lot of winning when it matters. I think that would be the biggest thing.
46-19.
How many of those wins came late in the postseason?
I put it right on a tee for you, didn't I? I put it right on a tee for you.
I think Lamar Jackson is very talented, and here's the good news for the Colts now that he's been franchise tagged. They can go make him an offer sheet. They can get him if the Ravens don't match, and it'll cost them 2 first-round picks. If you think the Colts can't draft, give up the 2 first-round picks, go get your man, and let's see if he can win a Super Bowl.
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Colts drafted Ben Banigou, who has been a healthy scratch for 3 years, over the likes of Terry McLaurin, and this isn't revisionist, because I said McLaurin was going to be great. He's from here. I said DK Metcalf. I wasn't sure on A.J. Brown. Should have been. It's not my job. Colts suck. Bring in the quarterback. All right, I need a prediction, final prediction, Ohio State. What time's that game? Tonight?
6:30 Eastern.
Yeah, Wisconsin, Ohio State. You are, and then when I'm going to get into Bo Ryan, because I interviewed him and I told him about your text, by the way. Ohio State, Wisconsin, who wins?
I'll take the Badgers by 8. It'll be close the whole way. The Badgers will be losing with under 5 minutes to go. We will then pull it out, hit the free throws, win by 8. We'll be seeing Iowa Thursday.
What Bo Ryan mean to the state of Wisconsin?
Oh, Dan, it's beyond words, quite frankly. We're talking about the most popular man in the state other than maybe Barry Alvarez for decades. You know, I come from a very rural, poor area of the state, but the one thing we had was basketball, high school basketball and Badgers basketball. And Bo Ryan was something everyone wanted to imitate. Our high school coaches wanted to imitate him. Our high school ran the swing, the same thing Bo Ryan ran. Everyone in the state wanted to play for Bo Ryan. He took an athletic department prior to Dick Bennett that was frankly a joke. And he gave us something to believe in. And I can just speak personally. I came from a town of like 1,200 people, very poor, very, very, working class. But the one thing we loved more than everything other than maybe the Packers was Bo Ryan basketball. And he gave something so many people could cheer about.
You know, you're right about Dick Bennett. They hired Fat Gundy, and he tried to cheat his way, but that wasn't going to work. But when I was at Indiana, I don't like him. I think he's a whatever. I was at Indiana, 4 as a player, 12 as a coach, so 16 years, from 82 to 97. And we played 2 times every year. I left before to go be the coach at Bowling Green. We were 31-1. Swear to God, 31-1 in those 16 years. We lost the last game that I coached in against when Dick Bennett came in. We lost the game last time. We were 31-0. So what Dick Bennett did and then Bo did is incredible, turning that not only turning the program around, but to your point, turning the state around.
And he did it without major recruits. You look at some of those teams that Bo Ryan won Big Ten titles with, conference and regular season. Certainly in the mid-2000s, those teams weren't loaded with NBA players. Not even close, but they were tough, and he ruled with an iron fist. And he always made the argument fundamentals can beat better talented teams that are less disciplined. And if you didn't make the proper passes, you didn't set the proper screens, or you weren't willing to get in the post and just slug it out down there, you were coming to the bench. I remember Sam Decker in a tournament game threw a behind-the-back pass that got picked off, and the sub was already coming in to check in before Decker had even started running back on defense. So it was known, we're playing Bo Ryan basketball. It's not sexy, but it wins, and it won so much. 2 Final Fours. If the refs hadn't screwed us, we would have a national title against Duke. That's a story for another time.
Man, I wonder, I say the same thing in 1992. If Teddy Valentine hadn't screwed us, we'd have beaten Duke in the semifinals and rolled in the final. You know, every school that gets to that level will tell you the same thing. You know, hey, I'm with you, though. By the way, Bo was a great guest. I don't know when it's coming out. I'll let you know. But, hey, man, keep being you are the Iron Fist. You talk to all the Army Rangers. You talk to the real heroes in this country, and it's great, man. So you keep ruling over us. Keep us in line. I'm always thinking in the back of my head, WWDHD. What would David Hookstead do? And it served me well these last, year and a half, 2 years.
Thanks, Dan. It's always great seeing you, buddy.
See you, brother. Give him a follow, D. Hookstead, at D. Hookstead. Man, he's got great interviews with our military and the heroes in our military. No kidding. It is spectacular. All right, here you go. Those of you that have been waiting for this, I am so confident in this parlay that I am actually giving Jared, my stepson, a $25 no-risk parlay, meaning if we win, he's going to get $25. If he loses, he doesn't have to pay. That's how confident I am in this particular parlay. Are you ready? Get your pens and papers. Now, I don't want to hear one word, not one single word about, well, you're really going out on a limb there, Dakich. We invest, people. Our portfolio says if we can, from 7 o'clock when 2 of the games start, till 10 o'clock when one game starts at 8. If we can double our money in a 3-hour period, that's how we look at gambling. You look at gambling like, well, I'm going to take a long shot. No, I did too. Hey, look, I ain't lying to you. I did too. I did. And all right, I learned a powerful lesson. I lost money that way. Not anymore. I ain't losing money. What? What the hell? I'm not losing money no more. No more. Never again. Never. So I'm trying to get to my DraftKings account so I have this right for you, and they sent me some code. But I should be entered right now. All right, here is the 3-team parlay. Are you ready? Write this down. West Virginia money line. I'm going to tell you why. Texas Tech is playing without their coach. Now, I would argue in the first half, Texas Tech may play well. You know, they got the evil guy out. They got their guy in, Corey Williams. They'll probably play well. But West Virginia's been playing better. And they're not. Teams that are in coaching dishevel, not named Michigan in 1989, generally lose in these things. So I'm taking West Virginia. That's one. Second one, North Carolina over Boston College. I got to tell you, I watched Boston College play Louisville. Louisville stinks. Boston College stinks. If North Carolina has any you-know-whats, they go ahead and they win. And in Villanova, Georgetown, look, Georgetown, everybody there knows Patrick Ewing is done. Out. Adios. Hasta la vista. And I hate it. 2 years ago, he made a miracle run through the Big Ten tournament. If everybody knows it, then players know it. Okay? So, there's my parlay right here. West Virginia over Texas Tech. North Carolina over Boston College. Georgetown over Villanova. Hey, Dakich, I could tell, man. You know, that's really going out on a limb. Yeah, I don't care. Yeah, I don't care. I'm not trying to go out on a limb. I'm not going out on a limb. All right? I'm not doing that. What I'm doing is I am telling you what in the Sam and Henry is going to happen in the evening window. What do you call it? The evening window of today's conference tournaments. All right, I'm looking forward to this next guest. I love smart people. I love smart people. I want to get Bryant McFadden at BMac_Sports Talk. I got to get his take. Played in the NFL, Super Bowl champ. I got to get his take on Aaron Rodgers and the Jets. We haven't talked about Aaron Rodgers and the Jets. I've saved it. Is Will Anderson, did he lose draft stock? Can he go and be the number one pick? And what he thinks of all these quarterbacks, former Florida State Seminole, Super Bowl champ. I guess you're always a Super Bowl champ. Brian McFadden has a great podcast, too. He joins us next.
There's a bunch of teams this year that are entering the season with a closer by committee. What are your thoughts on closer by committee versus having a main closer?
In 2 words, it's ass. Here's the problem. This is where sabermetrics and baseball clash, and the sabermetric guys don't understand why the baseball guys can't just get it. When the sabermetric guys look at a bullpen, they look at a list of data, right? First pitch strikes, who gets the first hitter out, which is the big hitter for the reliever, more than the other guys. Walks, your whip, how you hold runners, all these other things. The problem is that none of those factors account for the inning in which that happens. And unfortunately for sabermetric guys, pitchers think differently in the 9th inning than they do in the 8th, than they do in the 7th, than they do in the 6th. It's just human nature. Because everybody in the 9th inning hitting in a game that's close is hitting with the mentality of the tying runs on third, I need to get him in or get on base. That's a different mental approach than they take for their other at-bats during the game, for the most part. Pitchers have to change and elevate in the 9th inning their mental approach to pitching, and some guys just can't do it. It's just not, I can remember, I think it was in my career, 2003, the Red Sox went with a closer by committee to open the season, and they had a great bullpen. Turned out to be a disaster. It doesn't work.
You know, I talked to a bunch of guys in the NFL, in and around the NFL, a lot of ex-Colts and guys live here in Indianapolis. And I love talking to ex-players, because NFL players, because ex-NFL players and current are really smart. Like I've always said, you got to be really smart to play in the NFL. A friend of mine gave me a playbook one time. I'm like, what in the hell? Is this geometry? Bryant McFadden, really smart, went to Florida State, Super Bowl champion with the Pittsburgh Steelers, has a podcast. We'll get into it. All right, I asked you off air. I offered Ben Roethlisberger a basketball scholarship. I don't even know what year it was, like 97 or 98. He was a skinny guy. But I saw in 2 freaking minutes on the court that, number one, he could really play. And number two, man, was he a leader. You played with Roethlisberger. Was he good enough to compete? Like, I'm not saying in the NBA, but was he good enough to compete? Did guys respect his game?
No question. Big Ben was a very, very smooth basketball player. What a lot of people don't know about the Pittsburgh Steelers during the time when I played, during the offseason, we had a traveling basketball team. And we had a team that was assembled of players currently and some past players as well, where we would travel around Pittsburgh to go play against different teams. You know, different teams. When you look at park recreational type teams, we played against some smaller colleges, their basketball team. And a few times Big Ben was on our team. And my first time seeing him play, which was my rookie year, I think it was the offseason of my rookie year or the offseason of finishing up my rookie year. I was extremely surprised to see how good he was, how smooth he was. So you're right in regards to what you saw in the first 2 minutes of him taking the court, because he was a very, very smooth basketball player, had real good handles. Of course, you know, he had the size, 6'4", 6'5", had a nice stroke of the basketball as well as a shooter. So, yeah, I second everything that you just alluded to in regards to Big Ben on the basketball court.
Brian, I grew up in Gary, Indiana, and I'm older than you. But the Chicago Bears, guys didn't make that much money, so they would come to a high school and play, it would supplement their income. And I would always go as a kid, man. I'd be begging my dad. And then when I was in college at Indiana, when I graduated, the Bears had the same team, and we would play them, Indiana alumni. We would beat the crap out of them, by the way. But anyway, but I thought all that died when you all started making money. I thought all that went south. No more doing these basketball. That's awesome. I did not know that.
Yeah, it was a great way for us to come together. It was a great way for us to do things outside of football, working out. We came together in the off season, man, and we probably played anywhere between 3 to 4 games a week, for the guys that were in Pittsburgh training during the off season. So it was a great way for us to be active and come together and learn each other. And also, feel that competitive edge that we had during the off season when we weren't participating in any meaningful football games.
There was a big lineman for the Bears that started talking crap to me, and I weighed about 190 pounds, and for some reason I just started yapping at him, and that was really stupid. Like, that's really, really, stupid. Anybody ever talk some smack to you and mean it?
On the basketball court?
Yeah. In those games.
We had a few guys that used to talk trash to us, and a lot of guys used to kind of feel, some type of way because we were NFL players. But that was pretty much handled instantly because, we were pretty good. But one thing we did exercise every time we stepped on the court was humility. We never walked on the court because we played in the NFL like we were the best thing smoking. You know what I mean? We knew we had to show that we can ball. You know what I mean? And we played against some guys that can really go, honestly. And we had played against some guys that came in, stepped on the court, and their egos was the first thing to step on the court. So they were trying to prove a point. So in regards to talking trash, we had a few individuals that would talk trash to us, and we welcomed that as long as it was done in a respectful way. Now I can't say there was no disrespect ever displayed, but we had that happen here or there in regards to trash talk.
Yeah, because you guys are the Steelers, man. I mean, guys are trying to prove their bones. All right, All Things Covered is the podcast. You guys, Patrick Peterson, yourself, it's terrific. I was listening. I know my buddy Urban Meyer was on it. He said Cardale Jones should have a statue at Ohio State, and I'm with him on that. But I want to get into something here. You know, from an NFL perspective, Aaron Rodgers. Now, Aaron Rodgers, what do you make of this? Here's a Hall of Fame quarterback, the face of this organization for years. And all of a sudden, he's kind of talking to the Jets, I guess. Does this mean, if you were a Green Bay Packer fan or player, does this mean, hey, look, Rodgers is gone? If we're getting this far, he's gone to somewhere.
Yeah, I think so. I wouldn't say it's 100% done that he is gone, but it's 50-50 because we never, in Aaron Rodgers' time in Green Bay, we never seen him deal with or communicate with other teams openly, right? Even going back to a year ago, the issue for Aaron Rodgers was, will he retire from the league? It wasn't about going to another team. This year, he's actually entertaining, and he's, based on what we've heard publicly, he's talking to the Jets. So if you're part of the Green Bay Packers, no question, there's a 50-50 chance that Aaron Rodgers won't be your quarterback and he will be playing elsewhere in the National Football League.
How does that affect, and I know it's the offseason, and I understand it's a business, but you also want to win, right? How does that affect you if you're a player on the Packers, maybe a little bit older guy, you know, trying to, hey, look, I came here because I want to win. Does it affect players at all?
A little bit, but we understand how the business goes. And I think seeing the behavior for Aaron Rodgers over the last few years, many people felt like he was closer to the end than the beginning, clearly because of his age. And of course, just flirting with the idea of walking away from the game. So he flirted with the idea last year. He came back. One would think we would see a common theme once again this offseason. And yes, we're seeing that right now. So if you're an older player, I think you have to prepare yourself for life after Aaron Rodgers because of seeing what has happened in the last few off seasons. And now knowing that he is entertaining the Jets or talking to the Jets, I think you need to start getting that thought in your mind that, yeah, the likelihood of Aaron Rodgers not being with me here in Green Bay as an older player is highly likely, more so than what we've seen in years past.
Well, let me ask you. I mean, I always, football players know other players better than anybody. Basketball players know other players. What do you see when you see the on-the-field Aaron Rodgers? Where is he?
Well, he's not the Aaron Rodgers that we saw 5, 6, 7 years ago. He's still a guy that can get you to the playoffs. He's still a guy that can give you a legit shot to win the Super Bowl. But, you're talking about the MVP Aaron Rodgers. I don't think he is that guy anymore, but that's not a knock on Aaron Rodgers. He's just older. You know what I mean? But yeah, if you're the New York Jets and just seeing how bad their quarterback play has been over the years past, heck, just a piece of Aaron Rodgers will give you reason to be optimistic in what the team can do, knowing that they have more consistency at the quarterback position, more so than what they've ever had.
All right, let me go through quarterbacks here. I have a weird affinity, and I love Lamar Jackson. I mean, I think he's great. I know he's been hurt, but I didn't watch him when he was a junior in college and he won the Heisman. I watched him as a senior, and I'm like, dude, I live in Indy. Let's get this guy. I'm in Indy right now. I got to have this guy. I think he is great. Not good. I think he is great. Daniel Jones gets $40 million. I want to ask you about that. Teams can now offer contracts to Lamar Jackson. Do you think Lamar Jackson will be offered a $40 million plus deal that the Ravens are going to have to make a decision on?
Yeah. All right. So this is a tricky question because we're hearing that Lamar Jackson wants a fully guaranteed contract. He has the right to want that based on what happened with Deshaun Watson last offseason. So if you're telling me it's 40 plus million and it's fully guaranteed, no. Because we're hearing teams come out publicly saying that they're not interested in Lamar Jackson. The Colts said it. Falcons, the Raiders, Carolina, Houston. We've never seen teams come out on record this early to say they would not entertain a player, especially a player with the stature of Lamar Jackson. But if you're telling me Lamar Jackson doesn't want the entire contract to be guaranteed, he will easily get north of $40 million. In regards to Daniel Jones' contract, it's $40 million, but if you look at the structure of the deal, $35 million is based on incentives, right? So it's about you ball, you get paid, you get rewarded. If you don't, the structure of the deal is totally different. So when you see Daniel Jones's deal, you look at the numbers and you're like, wow, what did the Giants do? Well, you actually see the language of the deal. It's not a bad deal for the organization. It's a 4-year deal over at 160. I think it's 160. Slated to be per year salary around 40 million. But 35 million of that is incentive based, which means he has to reach certain incentives to get that money. So that's a way of protecting the organization, because if you're Daniel Jones, you know what's at stake. You got to throw more than 15 touchdowns probably. You know what I mean? You got to be able to ball out to be able to get the extra 35 million that's based on your contract. But to answer your first initial question, if Lamar Jackson had a deal structured like Kyler Murray was not 100% guaranteed, or Russell Wilson, yeah, he'll easily get north of 40 million per year.
I've had people tell me this, and you're the perfect person to ask. Well, he's really getting hurt by him not having an agent. Is he getting hurt by not having an agent?
I think so to some degree. We hear all the time that players negotiate their own deals. And I applaud that. You know what I mean? Being able to educate yourself to be able to handle that opportunity. But those players never play quarterback. They don't play quarterback. Those players are not a franchise-like quarterback that will get generational changing type money. So that's different. That is different. It's not easy to negotiate a $40 or $50 million deal, but it's easier to negotiate a $40 or $50 million deal than negotiating over $200+ million in regards to the language and everything that goes into detail with that deal. So I think to some degree he is hurting himself not having legit legal representation in this process. You know what I mean? Someone who understands the numbers, someone who can walk into this room and they know how these negotiations go. And because of, I'm not saying that's why he's still waiting for a deal, but I think if he had legit representation, he may be closer to finalizing that deal than where he currently sits.
If I were going to break this down for somebody that says, all right, well, why isn't Lamar Jackson signed? Would you agree that the biggest, and I think you just said this, the biggest hurdle is he wants everything guaranteed. He wants to be the first guy to have all of his money guaranteed, correct?
Yeah. Well, he won't be the first. Remember, Deshaun Watson did this last offseason.
Right. Right.
So that's what we're hearing. No one knows for sure. We're just speculating. People are coming out and saying he wants this, he wants that. Until I actually hear from Lamar Jackson, then I will fully believe it. But that's what we're hearing, that he wants a fully guaranteed contract north of what Deshaun Watson got, which was 230 or something like that. Now, clearly, clearly teams are not jumping to do that, because now having that type of deal fully guaranteed, everyone else will do the same thing. Remember, the Cleveland Browns did the unthinkable. They did a Cleveland Brown thing and giving Deshaun Watson that type deal, especially being removed from the league for about 2 years. But you better believe the owners don't want to see that become a thing, a common theme in the National Football League. So I think that is hindering the time of this deal, because I don't think the Baltimore Ravens are jumping to give him a fully guaranteed contract.
Never leaves you, does it? Rivalries, like I'll talk blank about Purdue all day, being an Indiana guy. It never leaves you. Cleveland, Pittsburgh, it never. Yeah. I see what you did there. Let me ask you about the draft and two guys. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, that the Bears don't make a deal. So a quarterback doesn't go number one. You like Will Anderson. I like Will. Everybody, but you like him as the number one pick. But let me ask you a question. What happens with Jalen Carter? Even if Jalen Carter, let's just say for the sake of argument, Jalen Carter, it's a misdemeanor. Guys have had misdemeanors before. What do you see happening with both of those guys, Will Anderson and Jalen Carter?
Jalen Carter's a tricky situation, because let's say, hypothetically speaking, as you mentioned, he gets hit with a misdemeanor. You still want to know exactly what happened in that process. What was he thinking, right? And that takes a lot of time doing your due diligence to understand and talk to him about that process. Now, if you're Chicago and everything checks off and you kind of get a good idea on what happened, he just made a college mistake, and you feel comfortable in making him number one, he would be number one. Clearly, he would be number one. I think he is the player that can make the defense better faster than Will Anderson because he does so much, especially from the interior of the defense. But if there's some things that don't really check off for you in regards to Chicago and getting more to the story, then Will Anderson would probably be the safest pick. But let's keep it real. If Jalen Carter didn't have this incident surface, he would be the odds-on favorite to go number one.
That's what everybody says. I mean, you know, this is where now I see, you know, people. Here's my problem, all right? And look, I want to know what happened. I want to know. But let's, again, hypothetically say that he didn't cause a wreck. He sped. He did whatever. Here's my thing. Like, okay, people are saying, well, he drops to 12th. What's the difference between 12th and 1st if there's no difference between 12th and 1st. I'm not. You see what I'm asking here? If he comes out and he's cleared, or whatever, he's not the guy that caused it. What's the difference between going 12th or going 1st? I'm not making my point right. I don't think. Help me out.
Well, I understand what you're saying, but there's a big difference in money.
I get that. No. I get it. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying morally, right? Morally, what? The Bears aren't going to draft him, and the 12th team is, I mean, morally, what's the difference? You know what I mean?
Well, morally, I'll say this. Let me try to answer this as best as possible. When you draft someone first overall, that player is the talk of the town. That player will have the most attention on them. That player will face the most questions. Instantly, that player becomes the most known player in the draft.
Yeah.
Right? So if you do that, then everything else that's associated with him, we become a bigger deal than getting drafted with the 12th spot. Do you remember who got drafted 12th last year?
No.
You remember who got drafted first, right?
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Do you remember who got drafted first the year before? You probably do. Do you remember who got drafted? Yeah. You remember who gets drafted first. But you don't remember who got drafted 10th, 11th, 12th. That's the thing. So that's the biggest difference. You know, you get drafted first, heck, in 1985. People remember it.
Right.
Faithful fans remember that. You know what I mean? And if it doesn't work out, guess what? The player who got drafted first, if it doesn't work out, is a bigger deal than the player who got drafted 12th and it don't work out.
You're exactly right. That is exactly right. He becomes forever. You know, you become a forever guy when you're drafted number one, right? You're exactly right. No, I get that. And we'll see what happens. Hey, last thing, I got to ask you, because in coaching, I really, really, really liked Bobby Bowden, and I followed Florida State always. You know, the number of top 5 finishes, you know, it was unbelievable how many in a row. What's going on with Florida State? And let me ask you this question. This may be a dumb question. Everybody likes Mike Norvell, I get it, but why isn't Deion Sanders the coach at Florida State?
Well, going back to when we hired Mike Norvell, which was, you know, at that time it was a move that a lot of people wasn't too certain about. When Deion became, you know, more inclined to be a coach, when we got rid of Willie Taggart, at that time, Deion didn't fulfill his academic requirements in regards to degree. So what people don't know is that in regards to being a coach, especially a head coach, you have to have a college degree. At that time, when we had that opening for that short period of time, Deion didn't have his degree. So you can't coach anywhere without a degree.
Right.
And remember what Prime did was he took some online classes to be able to get that degree that he needed to be able to be available to be a coach. By that time that was finalized, if my memory serves me correctly, in that timetable, we had already hired Mike Norvell. So that's what people don't get. Like, you have to have your degree to be able to be a coach, period. But if you look at his timeline when he finished everything, by that time we already had Mike Norvell. And then secondly,
all right, where's the program?
You must haven't been paying attention to where the program is.
I have.
So you see, well, then you should know where the program is. We just won 10 games.
No.
A double-digit season. A handful of big-time players returning with one of the best quarterbacks in the nation in Jordan Travis, who's the second best favorite to win the Heisman this year based on preseason odds behind Caleb Williams. We got a do-it-all running back in Trey Benson, one of the best receivers in the ACC. Heck, offensive line-wise, we had one of the best offensive line units in college football last year, and the majority of those guys have returned, especially if you factor in 3 big-time transfers that we got in the transfer portal. So where we're going is to big-time places based on what we did last year, how we finished, and the expectations for this year, along with all the guys we got returning and some new additions that would be big time for our team. You know what I mean? We finished in the transfer portal, I think top 3 or top 4 out of all universities in regards to big time guys that we got to come to our program. So where we going? Yeah. You better go back and look at how we finished this year. Took care of business against in Oklahoma in the Cheez-It Bowl. We blew out Miami and Florida State, took care of our in-state rivals. You know, we had some disappointing losses in regards to Clemson, Wake Forest, NC State. But outside of that, man, we exceeded expectations last year winning double-digit wins.
See, here's the deal. I coached at Indiana 17 years with Coach Knight. And the expectation was exactly like Florida State. Like, get to the Final Four, win the Big Ten. I don't want to hear nothing else. That's it. Now my school is like, well, we finished 3rd this year in the Big Ten, and we're all excited. Like, stop. Florida State needs to be in the top 5. Florida State needs to be in the playoff, just like Indiana needs to be in the Final Four. That's how I look at Florida State. So, yes, they're coming, but you got to get in the college football playoff like my school got to get in the Final Four.
And I think this year we have a legit chance to do so. A lot of things have to be in place. You know, we look at Florida State, the last time we made it to the playoffs was 2014. It's been a long, long time. You know what I mean? And there's been a gap of separation where we weren't doing what we've been accustomed to doing, where other teams have been doing it. Clemson has been able to take over the ACC since then, doing a great job. So there's been a gap of separation in regards to what Florida State has been accustomed to doing, but they're getting things back in place. And I like where we're going. We just got to continue to build on that. The dynamics of college football has changed dramatically than what it was when I was playing. You know what I mean? A lot of teams that weren't big dogs or big. When I was in college, Alabama wasn't a big dog. When I came out of high school, I didn't even take a trip to Alabama because they were sad. They weren't a good team. You know, Georgia wasn't a good team, a national consistent powerhouse like they are now. You know what I mean? So things have changed dramatically in college football. The landscape of things have changed. But the Blue Bloods are still the Blue Bloods to some degree. The brand still means something. You know what I mean? That Seminole head still means something. And hopefully we can go ahead and do what we used to do in regards to dominating and playing big-time football and getting back on track.
I remember when Florida State first came into the ACC, and we're sitting there watching. I think they won like their first 30 games or something like that. And I remember thinking, well, Clemson's not any good. North Carolina stinks. Duke is awful. You know what I mean? And we're like, damn, no one's going to beat. They may go undefeated for their entire lives in the ACC, but I would contend that Florida State coming into the ACC raised the entire level of ACC football at every freaking program, mostly Clemson. Although they won it in 80 or 78. I shouldn't say that.
Yeah. And Clemson also, too, Clemson used to dominate the ACC until Florida State surfaced. You know, if you go back to the Danny Ford days and looking at how he dominated the ACC when Clemson before Florida State, it was Clemson's division, to say the least. But Florida State came in with a different mindset, and the rest was history. But Clemson kind of regained that baton. They took that baton over a little bit, you know what I mean, with Dabo and what he's been able to do. But we're coming. We're here now. We're back.
I know it. Hey, tell people where they can find the podcast.
Oh, man, thank you. Number one, for shouting out the podcast. Number two, you can find us anywhere with podcasts or found any podcast platform. We also have a YouTube page, All Things Covered YouTube page, where if you want to see me and myself and Patrick Peterson, please do so. Subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. We talk everything. You know, we talk professional football, basketball, entertainment, golf. Pat is a big time golfer. We've had John Rahm on. The most recent episode that dropped last week, we had Lincoln Riley on, the head coach of the USC Trojans. Some of the notable names that we've had the privilege of talking to: Shaquille O'Neal, Nick Saban, Mike Tomlin, Odell Beckham Jr., Tyrann Mathieu, DeAndre Hopkins, Kirby Smart. I just said Lincoln Riley, Dominique Wilkins, Urban Meyer, John Smoltz. Man, it's been Mel Blunt
for all things sports.
Yeah, all things covered. We cover everything.
Brian, I appreciate it, man. It's been fun talking to you. Thank you. Thanks for the time. Continued success.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
It's my pleasure. At BMac_sports talk. All things covered is the podcast. Really good. Like, really, just guys sitting around talking ball. All right, if you missed, speaking of all things covered, we're going to make some money. Tomorrow, I will not do the show shirtless, but I'll come close if we lose, because I'm going to bet enough West Virginia over Texas Tech. Texas Tech's a mess. They'll play well for the first half. But Huggy Bear ain't losing to a coach that ain't there. Let me say that again. Mark Adams, my stepson, Jared, had a great quote this morning. I was telling him about the Mark Adams deal. He goes, you know how easy it is not to say racist stuff? I mean, honest to God. Or not to say that Bible verse. Like, well, really? He's right. All right. So that's one. Two, North Carolina over Boston College. Look, if North Carolina doesn't play well in this game, just kick every guy off the team. Start over, Hubert Davis. This is a game you got to win. This is a game that sets you up. That doesn't get you in the tournament. It sets you up to play teams that maybe you can't get in the tournament. Or maybe you guys are done. Maybe you're so soft, like Baycott's so soft. He came out the other day, expectations are too high. Shut up. And then number three, Villanova over Georgetown. Let's be honest. Kyle Neptune's a good coach. He's not Jay Wright. Nobody is. But Kyle Neptune's a good coach. I liked the look of their team the other day when I watched them. Georgetown, look, let's be honest, Patrick Ewing on his way out. I hate it because I really like Patrick. I really like talking to Patrick when I broadcast games. But he is on his way out. So there you go. That 3-team parlay will get you plus 106, which means if you bet $100, they're going to give you 200. Either 100 plus another 100. You don't have to pay any juice on it. Starts at 7, ends at 11. You could ends at 10, actually. So in 3 hours, you can double your money. Name me the investment that's going to work. Name me the Merrill Lynch or the Wells Fargo or whatever. It ain't happening. Great job today, Ryan. Great job, Dylan. Great job, everybody. Thank you, Aaron and Gary and Kaylee and Haley and everybody, Chuck. Everybody that contributes to this show, you guys that are on YouTube, are you taking Dan's parlay? You're dumb. If I am going to put this out on Twitter. Every time I put something out on Twitter in terms of a bet, it doesn't work. I've got a new system. In fact, I'm taking Davison today, money line. I'm going to pay some juice. I'm going to take Davison money line, early parlay, and I'm going to parlay it with not Syracuse, Wake Forest. Steve Forbes is going to have his team ready. They just played against Syracuse's zone. It isn't going to be a thing where they're going to be surprised by it. They just got whooped by Syracuse. I think Wake Forest bounces back. But that's not my big parlay. I don't want to hear it. Tomorrow, if my 3-teamer doesn't hit, feel free to rip me a new one. Have a great afternoon and morning, everybody. We will see you tomorrow. Thank you so much for being here.